What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 3 Millionaire Maker.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
Okay guys, this is for the Millionaire Maker slate, which is the Sunday main slate at 1 p.m. Oh, and stick around to the very end of this video. After I show you all my picks in the Draft Dashboard tools, I'll show you these players in DraftKings and in FanDuel, the Millionaire Maker slates. There'll be 2 spots open that you have to fill in, but you'll have a great Millionaire Maker core. Okay guys, NFL Week 3. Let's take a look at the quarterback position. So my Millionaire Maker quarterback for Week 3 is Matthew Stafford from the LA Rams, playing the Arizona Cardinals, who have the absolute worst defense overall. They give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Matthew Stafford has averaged 15.8 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 21 fantasy points last week. He's going to be about 7% owned, projected at 19.3 fantasy points here in Week 3, and he's 6,500 DraftKings salary, 1,200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 49 points scored in this game, with the Rams favored by 3.5. So I love this matchup for Matthew Stafford. His salary is still pretty low and reasonable. He had a great game last week, and I think he can continue that into Week 3. So I like Matthew Stafford here versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. So my Millionaire Maker running back for NFL Week 3 is David Montgomery from the Chicago Bears, playing the Houston Texans, who have the 10th worst defense overall. They give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. David Montgomery has averaged 13.3 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 19 fantasy points last week. He got 15 rush attempts and 2 pass targets last week. So he got 17 touches last week. He had 21 touches the week before. Pretty consistent volume on the field for 72% of the snaps. Gonna be about 13% owned. Projected at 15.5 fantasy points here in Week 3. And I like this pick because he's only 5,900 DraftKings salary, 1,200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 40.5 points scored in this game, with the Chicago Bears favored by 3. So I like David Montgomery here versus the Houston Texans. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. But let's be contrarian about this pick here, because the obvious pick here is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He got 12 targets both in Week 1 and in Week 2. He scored 20 and 42 fantasy points. So he's averaging 31.4 fantasy points per game on the season. Now, I don't think this is sustainable here for Amon-Ra St. Brown. His price is up to $7,200. He's on the field for 87% of the snaps. Going to be about 16% owned. So you could go with Amon-Ra St. Brown here, but you're going to have to overpay, I think, a little bit for this play based on his first 2 weeks performance. Now, could be the right play, but in a Millionaire Maker lineup, I'm going to be a little contrarian here. Save some money on this pick.
Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
So take a look at DJ Chark from the Detroit Lions playing the Minnesota Vikings, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing wide receivers. Now, DJ Chark only averaging 7.6 fantasy points per game on the season because he scored 15 fantasy points in week 1 off of 8 pass targets, was looking good. But then last week, he scored 0 fantasy points off of 4 pass targets. So this is going to tank his DFS ownership here, and his price tag is super low. He's on the field for 74% of the snaps, projected at 9.2 fantasy points here in week 3. He's only 5,100 DraftKings salary and 400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 53.5 points scored in this game, with the Lions trailing by 6. So I think this is a juicy matchup for the Detroit Lions wide receivers. And I just think people are going to be looking that he scored 0 fantasy points last week. They're going to say, oh, you can't trust DJ Chark on a week-to-week basis. But guys, it was 1 game. He got 8 pass targets in week 1, scored 15 fantasy points. This guy could go off and become the Amon Ross Street Brown play of the week for much less ownership. So I think this makes total sense in a Millionaire Maker lineup to be contrarian about this pick, save some salary, and go with DJ Chark here versus the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. My Millionaire Maker tight end is Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders playing the Tennessee Titans, who have the 3rd worst defense overall. They've been pretty good versus opposing tight ends, but Darren Waller has averaged 14.5 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 7 pass targets per game. He scored 17 fantasy points off of 8 pass targets last week, 12 fantasy points off of 6 pass targets in week 1. So his volume has been ramping up, his production going up a little bit. Now this surprised me here. So he's been on the field for 69% of the snaps, but he's only going to be about 2% owned. I think he is getting overlooked because of Devontae Adams. He's projected at 12.7 fantasy points here in week 3, and he's only 5,800 DraftKings salary, 600 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 45.5 points scored in this game, with the Raiders favored by 2. He's had a good couple of first games. I don't know why his ownership is so low. His price tag is still low. He has an okay matchup. He's bound to go off one of these games and put up 20 plus fantasy points. So I like Darren Waller here versus the Tennessee Titans.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck. You've unlocked the bonus content.
Okay guys, here we are in the DraftKings lineup optimizer. Over here on Draft Dashboard, We've got our Millionaire Maker core locked in here, and we've generated a lineup. So let's see who we got. We got Matthew Stafford, David Montgomery, Antonio Gibson, Christian Kirk, DJ Chark, Tyler Lockett, Darren Waller, Juju Smith-Schuster, and the Seahawks defense. Now, I just instantly love this lineup. We got our Millionaire Maker core. I like Antonio Gibson. He's been doing really well involved in the pass game as well as the running game. Christian Kirk has been lighting it up, scoring 21 and 26 fantasy points in the last 2 games, on the field for 90% or more of the snaps. We got Tyler Lockett, who we know has 20 plus fantasy point upside, scored 23 fantasy points last week. Juju Smith-Schuster, he's been struggling a little bit, but he's got Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball, so he'll come into his own. So I love this lineup. I'm going to save this lineup so we can optimize it later if anything changes. Okay, now here we are in the FanDuel lineup optimizer. Over here on Draft Dashboard, we got our Millionaire Maker core locked in here. We've generated a lineup. Let's see who we got. We got Matthew Stafford, David Montgomery, Antonio Gibson, Davante Adams, DJ Chark, Juju Smith-Schuster, Darren Waller, Jalen Waddle, and the Saints defense. Now, I notice here we got Darren Waller and Davante Adams. We may want to change Davante Adams to a guy like Jamar Chase, just because if Darren Waller goes off, it's possible that Davante Adams didn't reach his potential because more of the targets went to Darren Waller. So I would probably only stack those 2 players if I was going to be playing Derek Carr at quarterback. So we'll make the easy swap here to Jamar Chase. So I like this lineup. I'm going to save it so I can optimize it later if anything changes.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.